Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 29th of November, comes to you from London, and we're nearly into the last month of the year. Looking at some of the things I've been posting on LinkedIn today, this chart really quite interesting. This is the FTSE future overlaid with the S&P E-mini future, and we see how the UK has outperformed the US by 22%. This is a normalized relative strength chart, and when we get to 25%, that's where we've hit resistance, 25% outperformance. But the shape of this chart, the ascending triangle, suggests that we can probably break that. And if we go right the way back, you can see that your UK's got quite a lot of catching up to do. So interesting to see that. Lots of people saying, oh yes, but that's because of the oil majors or the dollar. But the fact is it's happening, and it's quite an interesting chart to watch. So UK outperformance, and we'll look at the FTSE future in a minute. Another one that I was looking at this morning was ITV. All news about the World Cup at the moment. England-Wales game tonight. And I just thought it would be interesting. I saw someone posting about IT's fortunes on the World Cup. I thought it'd be interesting just to look at that. So I put the World Cups on the chart, and we can see that one year it might have led to something, but most years the shares in ITV have fallen after the World Cup. So not really what you'd expect, but the reality is the World Cup is not going to make a massive difference to that chart. So looking at the markets, we see a lot more green on the screen this morning, so a little bit better. The dollar is actually steadying, having fallen quite decisively through the cloud. The 105 level is now the critical level for the dollar. We touched that yesterday and bounced at that level. If we go lower than the 105 level, that is a sign of further downside targets here of 101, 102. So it looks like it's perfectly doable. Looking at the euro, that's looking stronger. We were sitting at 104. We have pulled back a little bit on the base, so we hit 105 yesterday. So it's the inverted chart. If you imagine the dollar index at 105, the euro at 105, the main component of the dollar index being the euro, and we're seeing here that we are falling just back a little bit. But the reality is we have seen that turnaround. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market, and I'm running on Refinitiv Icon. You could be running on Metastock, Bloomberg, Trayport, dozens of different data services that Updata is compatible with, so you just run your system on top of those systems to get this extra power out of your system. So looking at the Japanese yen, we see here that we're a little bit lower there as well. Sterling holding the 120 level against the dollar, so that's looking quite a bit stronger there. And if we look to Bitcoin, we are just hanging on to $16,000, but realistically we've got targets taking us much lower, so no signs of any great turnaround there. The S&P 500 index was down 1.5% yesterday, so we did see stocks falling back. The Nasdaq also lower, and so we are just seeing there that we are just making a risk of this lower high, lower low scenario, trying to recover a little bit. But the reality is we're bearish with these downside targets, and we'll take a look at some of the tech majors in a minute. We've got the futures up this morning. The Nasdaq E-mini is up, and the S&P E-mini is also up about 0.25%. So markets look set to open a little bit higher in the US. And that FTSE future chart we talked about, really nudging, making new all-time highs there, and we do have some quite big upside target potential, so some 30% higher on the target that was given back in 21, and we'll have a new target off this thrust, so it'll be interesting to see where that target ends. But more importantly, we've got short-term targets of 1 and 5%, so really quite key there as well. And if we take a look at the DAX in Germany, the cash market is down 0.25%, just reacting to that US equities fall yesterday, and really just struggling now a little bit with cloud resistance on the weekly, and no clear upside targets yet on the DAX, so that's quite interesting. Japan just pulled back 0.6%. The Hang Seng really saw a relief rally up over 5%. And of course, Chinese crackdown on these demonstrations has ironically helped the market for fears of more social unrest receding as a result of the Chinese government getting the upper hand on the protesters. But that's really quite a move. Not enough yet to change the fact that we're still bearish below the cloud on both targets. And if we look at the Shanghai composite, it was up 2.3%, making a new 10-week high and breaking this downtrend and just moving above the cloud on the price. So quite interesting. India continues to go higher. We've been posting about that, new all-time highs for the Indian market. That's very powerful indeed. And the Aussie market was up 1/3% as well. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. We see that wheat is up 0.5%. Not enough really to change the fact that we're just falling back on the trend. The long-term trend just still intact, but the medium and short-term chart's a bit more bearish with downside prices. So that's good news for food inflation. Looking at gold, we're sitting at 1755. We're really struggling at this 1750 level, but we are just breaking above it at the moment. Of course, if we can get a new high above 1780, then that would be the signs that gold is really turning. But of course, we are now above the cloud on the medium-term chart, and all eyes really for breaking this 1800 level. Silver is up nearly 2%, holding above $21. So that is looking much, much stronger. Platinum and palladium also rising. US 10-year yields falling right back to 3.66%. And the big move yesterday was Apple. They were down over 2.5%. And again, just starting to move back below the cloud there. Concerns about the supply chains in China really ruling there. A move below 130 would be highly significant, and that would take us into the low 120s based on the targets. Looking at the energy mix now, we've got Brent crude up 2.5% this morning, so recovering. We went out as neutral to clients because it was really hard to call first thing, and again we are just seeing a bounce off the bottom there, so that's quite key. Emissions holding higher at 79.30, so a new upside target there, so looking a little bit better there as well. And gas prices up quite sharply now. MBP up to 314, so really just starting to break that upside target there. And if we look at TTF, we are sitting at 129.70, 138 really the level to break there. And German power also looking a little bit better there, up 4%, really has turned a corner. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.